Hello and welcome to another episode of Words with Myself. Something that I've spoken a lot about on this podcast, and something that has had quite a profound impact on my life, is the concept of shadow work. Shadow work, for those who are not familiar or who are new to the podcast, is a concept where we introspect on the feelings that we have and the thoughts that we have. We delve deep into what causes our feelings, our thoughts, and the roots of our trauma. It was a phrase that was coined by Carl Jung, who is a Swiss psychologist. And he sat with his patients, and whenever they explained to him that they had these reoccurring thoughts or dreams or patterns of behavior, he would try to understand where they came from and what historically had caused this. For instance, someone might say something to you about your clothes being too tight, and because in your childhood you were bullied for being overweight, you then have a very visceral and aggressive reaction to that comment, even if their intentions behind the comment was harmless or not meaning to be upsetting. There are all these ways that we default in our behavior, where we are simply making decisions every day to make certain choices, yet we're not aware of consciously making the decision because we've made it every day since. So we get into these patterns of behavior, not knowing that the root cause of those patterns or the root cause of these decisions that we're making is something that happened a long time ago. But this is not what I want to talk about today, and I'm just laying out the context that is needed in order to understand the latter portion of the podcast. But if everyone's interested in learning more about shadow work, maybe I'll do an episode dedicated to that later down the line. Instead, what I want to focus on in this episode is actually the opposite of shadow work, the light work. And I haven't heard this term be used in this way before, but I'm not sure it's new. I'm not sure the concept is new, but it was new to me. And it was something that I experienced when I was going for a walk. And I had this profound insight that I am very good at shadow work. I've been doing it for many years. I'm very well versed in shadow work. And to some degree, I have adapted to living in the shadow. There comes a point when you have delved into the darkness for so long that when you finally step out into the light, it can actually be quite painful. It can hurt your eyes. And the same can be said for this work. If you've spent enough time looking at all the worst parts of your life and all of the trauma and all of the tragedy and everything that went wrong and every time that you got upset, or just focusing on all the negative aspects of your life, even if it is for a positive reason, even if the intention is to uncover and heal from this. If you are not doing shadow work's counterpart, if you're not doing the other side, the light work, then you can become very easily lost in the negative, to feel like everything has always been terrible, to feel like nothing was ever good, or you don't remember any positive memories or anything that was positive in your life. You can only really focus on or draw out those negative memories, those negative feelings, those times where we were traumatized or hurt. Instead of being one aspect of our life, instead it becomes the entirety of our life. It becomes everything that is and ever was, which is why the light work is so important. It's important to reflect on the positive times in our life, the times where things went right, the success, the achievements, the times when we were happy, the times when we were safe and comfortable, the times when things worked out for the best, the times where things could have gone horribly wrong and instead they actually went right, or maybe not as bad as they could have done. To reminisce on the laughs and the jokes and the happiness and the fun times and the adventure and all of the goodness that we have experienced, because everyone, no matter how bad your life is, has experienced those glimpses of good. Those times when things weren't as bad, or we had a happy moment, or a shared memory, or a positive interaction with someone. We all have this. Every one of us. And when you finally stop to contemplate on all the good things in your life, you will probably find out that there's actually a lot more good things than you probably remember or probably expected to be there. If you sit and look through old photos of holidays and good times and text messages with people that we love and family and just little things, they don't have to be huge things. It could just be like, oh, remember that Christmas when it actually snowed on Christmas Day and it had never done that before? Or that time you went to the forest and saw a deer come out of the bushes. Little things. They don't have to be huge things. They can just be constant positive reminders of good things in your life, because if you don't do this, you end up with like the opposite of rosy tinted glasses. You end up with these dark grey glasses where it feels like you don't know any time that you've been happy, or you can't remember anything good. Everything seems bleak because you've constantly been looking at things through this lens of remembering every time that things went badly or wrong. And when you start to bring your awareness to a certain pattern, you start to expect reoccurrences of it. For instance, if you constantly see that things have gone wrong in your life, you expect that the next things will also go wrong in your life. Why wouldn't you? If everything has always gone wrong for you, you're going to assume that things are going to continue going wrong for you. So when you are hyper-focused on a subset of your experience, when you're hyper-focused on the negative aspects, and you only see the things that went wrong, or the things that went bad, or the times you were hurt, you are going to build up this expectation that that is going to continue to happen. If you focus on all the amazing things in your life, every time that things went right for you, every time you had a success or something happened that you didn't expect that was amazing, if you constantly focus on these aspects of your life, you're going to expect those to continue. And in truth, both happen. There are times when things go wrong for us, and there are times where things go right for us. There are times where we have happy memories and times where we're making sad memories. Both happen. But if you choose to hyperfixate on one of them, why are you going to choose the negative things? Because that is going to frame everything in the future in that light. It's going to frame it all negatively. If you choose to hyperfocus only on the positive, then you will see a lot more positive things come into your life, but you will also feel the force of negative things much more because they will be unexpected and they will be taking you by surprise. Like you'll think, oh, things always go right for me. Why is this going wrong for me? There must be something really wrong if something's going wrong. Whereas if we can stay in the middle is kind of where we always want to be, that balance in between two. Anytime we're going between two extremes, especially when it's something like good or bad, right and wrong, we're always going to be throwing ourselves from one end of the extreme to the other. We're going to go from really, really bad to then only focusing on the positive, to then being overwhelmed by the negative, to then feeling like there's no happiness. It's just going to be pinging between two different extremes constantly. If we can stay centered and balanced and harmonized and say, you know what? Good things happen to me. I know good things happen to me, but also bad things have happened to me. And I don't know what is going to happen in the future. So all I can really say, all I can really do is to accept that if bad things happen, I will overcome them. And I accept that. And I know from historics that I have overcome bad things before, that those negative experiences didn't keep me down. And I'm also open and prepared for all the amazing things to happen. Neither one is trapping me. I'm not locked into only focusing on good things and trying to force that to happen and then being wiped out by the bad. And I'm not so focused on the bad that I'm ignoring any possibility of something good happening or feeling that feeling of this is a good thing because I'm so worried about something going wrong again, or it's good now, but what if it's not good later? Either one of those is going to trap me. Whereas if I can stay in the middle, if I can stay balanced, all I can do is remain open to the experience, accept that I don't have any control over it, and say, no matter what happens, I'm going to live this life fully, presently. I'm going to accept the experience that I have, and I'm going to make the most of it. And in order to achieve this, we need that balance of perspective as well as action. We need to review historically, if we're going to do the shadow work, to also then do the light work. And that's how we balance that out. If we're going to do one of them, we need to do both of them. And if we're not going to do both of them, then we shouldn't do either of them. Because the only way to achieve that balance is to do the work on both sides, is to gain insight and wisdom on both sides, to look at all of the positive aspects in our life and all of the negative aspects, to know and see and feel that both are possible and that we have experienced both. We are ready for both. We are prepared for both. Only then are you truly free to live in the present. Thank you for listening.